Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for soul growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello again, I'm Sue and this is Talk Cosmos. And today is the equinox, equal night. And we are presenting a vibrational astrology program, Fall Equinox Vibrations. And we have a slight little change with the title, The Turning Seasons. We've used it always, and we're leaving it that because, hey, the seasons have always turned. And that's the magic of the seasons, the universe, our universe. I'm not going to say anything more. We are ready now for the turning season.
Revealing fundamental core consciousness, manifesting through the lens of vibrational astrology frequencies for the season's energetic theme for the spring and fall equinox and the winter and summer solstice. This is the Turning Season panel.
I'm Sue Rose Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Robert Pacitti, professional consulting astrologer and the visionary behind Deep Earth Astrology and the Deep Earth Astrology Tarot, a divination tool and teaching aid that integrates astrology, herbalism, and natural reverence. I specialize in vibrational and psychological techniques and infuse my practice with a deep connection to nature's spirituality. I'm currently the Grand Pendragon in the Ancient Order of Druids in America and the director of the Magus Gathering in Gore, Virginia.
And I'm Linda Berry. I hold a professional astrology certificate in vibrational astrology from the Avalon School of Astrology, as well as a Master of Science in Social Work and bachelor degrees in psychology, mathematics, and computer programming. I teach vibrational astrology courses in the School of the Astrology of Vibrational Energetics online. I created Frequency Finder, an add-on to Cosmic Patterns, Sirius, and Kepler software. Frequency Finder provides an in-depth astrological analysis of your astrology chart. As a vibrational astrology researcher, I moderate a vibrational astrology research group, am an international consultant, a published author, and the writer of a free daily blog, The Vibrational Astrology Diary.
As an ancient mathematician, Pythagoras' music of the spheres about vibrating stars and planets, the electrical engineer Nikola Tesla said, "If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Ooh, well, hello, Linda. Hello,
Hey,
Rob.
everybody. How are you?
We're good. Yes, I know we've been active and the season has turned. Let's go plow into it. We always have lots to do. And since the beginning of time, people have looked at the seasons through all kinds of wonderful archaeological groups. Not groups, but things. I'm trying to go through this quickly and my tongue isn't keeping up with my brain, so I apologize. But for those people that are podcasts, I hope you can follow. But I know the visuals, you can go back and check these because we'll go a little bit rapidly through this introduction. But what is vibrational astrology? It's planetary group patterns. They're in frequency vibrations. And there is software that deliberates this information. It's Sirius, and along with Frequency Finder that Linda created. This is just a quick key that you can go back to and reference if you want to know what this research through thousands of charts has determined for the sun, the moon. But the sun is about time right now, what you see, and the moon is about the past time, what's reflected. The equinox is when the sun is directly overhead at the equator. approximately equal time for night and day. Ancient equas, if I'm saying that right in Latin, means equal, and nox is night. We have the seasons. The ancients, Pythagoras, heard in his mind this vibrational pattern. But from that, the great mathematician brought so many wonderful information to us. But it's not just ancients. Tesla, the electrical engineer, said, think and define the secrets of the universe. Think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Heindel, who was a mystic, a Rosicrucian founder, said, all things are in a state of vibration. So I will pass this now to you, Linda, to begin this wonderful messages of your themes.
Okay. Well, here we are, folks. The fall equinox. The sun is balanced between hot and cold, moving towards the colder times of the year in the fall equinox in the northern hemisphere, and toward the warmer times of the year in the southern hemisphere. This is a point of balance where you can move your energies toward greater awareness and inclusiveness, or towards less awareness and exclusiveness. You get the final vote. It is your choice. So, for once, we actually are doing our live presentation after the equinox has happened instead of before. We usually can't manage this in the schedule. But the equinox was several hours ago, 8:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time today, 2:44 a.m. Hawaiian Daylight Time today.
Standard.
Is that right?
It's standard. We're always standard. We say standard.
Is it HST?
Yes,
But it
ST
is still
all the
6
time.
hours or 5?
Well, because of the winter season, yes, we are 6 hours. But then come winter, when you go to standard time, then it's only 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because daylight.
We're like Arizona. Arizona doesn't change either.
You don't move.
No.
Okay. So here we have this chart. Let me make this bigger. How's this? Does it change what people see?
No, we're fine. I can see it pretty well.
All right. This is a very interesting chart. A lot of times when we look at the natal chart, we don't see a lot of activity, but this time we do. There are 4 very distinctive patterns in this chart. There's the kite, that green kite energy. There's a Venus, Saturn, Pluto, which is this red triangle toward the bottom. There is Moon, Quincunx, Haumea, which is Moon to Haumea right there. And I actually just saw a second quincunx, so I'm going to have to talk about some things that's not in the notes. And then there is an opposition. Venus and Haumea, opposite Eris. And we've even got one more pattern besides that that's really important. Okay. So here's the kite. The purple marks the points of the power grand trine. The blue shows the Neptune making this into a kite, except it's not very powerful, which actually we should be very thankful for. Now, the core of this is the trine. We don't usually think about the trine and what's going on with it, but hate to break it to you, but I did research on it. That's a dangerous thing to do, folks. And the trine is much more active than we have thought. It needs to experience that feeling of flow. And I mean, it actively needs this. The flow can only come, now remember, flow can only come when you're not too stressed, not too overburdened to cope. So there's this whole thing about thinking of the trine as being easy or not real active, but the trine is actively flowing, folks. Even though it looks, it's not stressed because it doesn't want to be stressed, but it's active. It will actively work, seeking to create the world that it wants to be in, this world of flow. If it fails, particularly if it feels trapped, I saw some biographies you wouldn't believe, folks, and I'm not even going to tell you online. It can react very badly.
Especially with the 3 planets that are involved in these trines.
Well, this particular trine we're dealing with makes that even more likely, but I'm not even talking about that one. The trine in general can react very badly if it feels trapped. It does have a potential for violence toward itself and others, which is not something we normally think of the trine with. But folks, you wouldn't believe the stuff I saw in the trine emphasized biographies. Okay, so now that we understand that we're talking about this compulsive need for a flow, the planets involved are Moon, Uranus, Pluto, and the Sun. In terms of describing this, you could say it's a compulsive emotional impulsivity that can flare up in a moment based on deep wounds from the past. See, and basically part of what we're dealing with here is deep wounds down inside of you don't flow, folks. They create stress, they interfere. And so it's very hard for this pattern to flow.
One of the things that we've talked about up to this point in the past, in the solstice and the equinox before that, was all of this kind of internal churning going on. There wasn't a lot of active stuff. It was all very internal. It was very philosophical. But now we've gotten to the point where it seems like there's, action is ready. Action is on the menu.
Action's definitely on.
That's a good point, Rob, because I remember the stories. Often it was about the stories of others, prior to that. So yes.
Okay. So in other words, this fall, there's a tendency for old wounds to generate sudden explosive action that could be violent. All right. Now let's understand this. That doesn't sound so good. Let's understand this pattern a little better. Because it's a trine, that's 1/3 and 1/3 and 1/3. Thus, in the third vibration, it's a conjunction. All of it's a conjunction. You see it here. Moon, Sun, Pluto, Uranus. All right. Now, notice when you see the conjunction, you can see that the Sun, Pluto is really, really tight. It's the most... It's those 2 planets are cuddling up together better than any of the rest. Okay. So what this tells us is that this pattern of old things coming up emotionally, suddenly in the moment, that there's a focus every day that we feel on what we feel compelled to focus on, and this sense, Sun Pluto sense of that which we feel compelled to focus on has to do, the things we feel compelled to focus on are the things we identify within us as our mission, as our purpose. So in this pattern, we have this sense of purpose. Now, I have to tell you about something very quickly because our session would have to be 2 hours long at least the workshop I did on it was 3 hours long and I just got the beginning level. Okay. This last year, I've been studying the signs as they are embedded in the Fibonacci series. Yes, the signs of the zodiac are embedded in the Fibonacci series. Identifying these patterns as the signs of the zodiac was first done by Russell Olhausen and then developed by Santino Mancuso, David Cochran's current name. And I worked with it this year and found that these patterns in the Fibonacci series give us a way to combine the signs of the zodiac, the elements, and the modes that helps us understand the patterns in our chart. It's very revealing, and unfortunately, I can't show you how to do it in this presentation, but I can give you the results of it, and they will help us to understand these patterns better. Okay, so for the pattern we just looked at, this big grand trine, we have Gemini, Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, and Capricorn, and we just call these the SIS pattern or SIS sum or something like that.
Yes.
It gives us Libra. Believe it or not, Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, and Capricorn add together to become Libra. And you might think, well, it's kind of in the middle, but I don't think it works that way. But anyway, it's Libra, which has to do with relating as equals, where all people take equal responsibility for the initiation of action, working together for a common outcome. In other words, in this pattern, oh, good, it did work. Oh, no, that went backwards. I got it. Okay. In this pattern, with Sun, Moon, Uranus, Pluto, if people work in cooperative, responsible ways with dealing with their deep wounds and helping to express them, we'll have a much better outcome. That helps you to do it better. Okay, so
that's a big if right now, Linda.
Well, you know, we at least we can look at the formula and know what's possible. And what we can say is, whatever group of people,
Yes, I was thinking from family, friends.
do that cooperative, interactive, supportive work, guess what? They're the ones who come through without getting wounded more.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it's also pretty indicative of the current climate. I think people are ready for something new.
I think they are. Now, in the conjunction, we have 2 planets in Virgo and 2 planets in Libra, and so we add the 2 Virgos and the 2 Libras together, and this gives us, believe it or not, air energy. Air energy has to do with connection, exchange, and interrelationship. So again, we have the theme for, see, the other one was Libra, which is one of the air energies. So we have a strongly emphasized theme of interrelating. And one of the things you can do, this was the cis pattern for the power grand trine. This was a cis pattern for the conjunction. But then to get a summarizing or overall understanding, you take those 2 signs, elements, or modes, and you combine them together. And when you take Libra energy and air energy and combine them, you get Capricorn, which has to do with the ability to be objective and respond to the patterns without emotional subjectivity. In other words, to handle this volatile pattern, we need to be detached and objective, able to see all the stresses and respond appropriately.
I love that. It's a goal. If we don't have that brass ring, where are we going to reach for?
At least we know what'll work, what we can aim for.
There's some big asks in this astrology. I'll say that.
There is, but you know, astrology is never about being perfect, and astrology gives you what's potential.
Right.
It gives you patterning and it gives you potential. And when you study this whole pattern as we go through it, you will see that there's some things in the other patterns that help you do this one.
What I love too about this with Capricorn is that if we're demanding within this flow and feeling that natural frustration or all the other outcomes, the negative, that by peering into seeing what's really this part of Capricorn objectively to see what the stresses are is an antidote.
Yeah. That's what it means. It's an antidote. Okay. Now, in addition to this great big triangle here, we have this smaller triangle sitting on top of it, kind of. It's a little off center. This is the sextiles that would make this what we call a kite instead of a grand trine. This additional triangle of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto does form a kite with the sun, but the moon is not close enough to be part of it. So this is a different energy from the one we were just looking at. This undercuts, this kite, when you go to vibration 6, you will see a conjunction if there is one. And in this particular case, there is not a conjunction of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. In 6, we get a conjunction of Uranus, Sun, Neptune, and Pluto, but the Uranus isn't close enough. And believe me, folks, this is a blessing. It means that we have a better chance of managing this energy without everything exploding. This undercuts the fact that Uranus is not part of the conjunction pattern, undercuts some of the excessive impulsivity, makes possible, well, notice I said possible, a harmonious flow of passion and mission without such an extreme volatility. And to quickly do the SIS pattern for these 3 planets, we have Gemini in the first vibration and cardinal energy in the 6th for the 3 that were conjunct, Sun, Neptune, Pluto, which gives us Aquarius. I know these may seem strange, but it really, really does work.
It's a fact. It is.
It makes sense when you get a chance to study how these are generated.
I add testimony to that. Yes, it does.
Yes. Okay, so Aquarius, recognizing that we all are connected together in a common network. This shows up more than once as the antidote to some of the problems.
I think this has validity, especially because mainstream, most astrologers are looking at Pluto and Capricorn. And yes, they're realizing it's close, but it's giving that harbinger that, yes, we're still working best we can with all these old patterns to get to this network where we have commonality.
Right.
So
I think that I didn't check. Is this the last time Pluto goes into Capricorn?
Yes.
I was thinking it was. Now, and just to make a comment about that for just a minute, folks. Pluto in Capricorn is about confronting the power structure. It's about actually what it is. It's about, you know how you blow things up so big they pop? Take a balloon. If you keep blowing it long enough, it pops. Well, Pluto in Capricorn is obsession with power to such an extent that the power grows and grows and grows to where it pops and exposes itself. That's for the people who already had too much power. For the average person, Pluto in Capricorn is the process of them coming to feel their power.
We've seen that since it entered there in 2008. The 2008, we saw the collapse. All right, we've seen that obviously in our political structures, in the judicial system. We've seen it collapse. Our faith in it and in these structures has totally dropped, and we're in this place where we don't know what to do next.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, Pluto's going into Aquarius.
Mhm.
Now,
The script will change. Yes, onward.
okay. Now the next pattern, Venus, Saturn, Pluto, and that Venus is conjunct Haumea. It's actually a 4-planet pattern. This is a new beginning, a rebirth. It comes from identifying the deep foundational patterns, Saturn, Pluto, at the core of our concerns, focusing on these deep truths and eliminating everything else. Haumea gives us an opportunity to use this awareness to come into a new way of understanding things. Here's the SIS signs on it. And it's interesting how it kind of reflects some of the other one. For this one, first of all, thing I should have said a minute ago is this is an action pattern, folks. This is a square, a semi-square, and a sesquiquadrate going into the 8th vibration. And this is about going out there and taking action. So this is the action pattern in the fall equinox. And the natal chart pattern includes 4 signs, Libra, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces. Let me go back here just a minute so you can see this.
And this particular one, in what pattern?
Pisces, Capricorn, Libra, and Scorpio. Yes.
Is that vibration 3 still? Yeah, that we're looking at, or is that the
this
natal?
Is vibration 1. This is a natal.
1. Oh, okay, this is the natal. Thank you.
Yeah, these are we're
that's right. No, I
4
follow.
patterns out of the natal chart.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, but this second one where you can kind of small, where you can see them all conjunct down here, that's the 8th vibration expression of this same thing. And here in the conjunction, we have 3 planets in Scorpio and 1 in Sagittarius. Okay, let me get back up here. This Libra, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces, when you do an SIS combination of them, you get Aries. And Aries, what this is saying is that action needs to start from within you, operating out of your core awareness, dropping all outside influences. In other words, in order to act effectively this fall, you have to stop letting other people control your thinking. Come and find what's really inside of you. And then the 8th vibration is the conjunction showing this action. And guess what, folks? These 3 planets in Scorpio, this 1 planet in Sagittarius, they add up.
That's okay. It's right at our halftime, too. I thought that was Nate almost. The universe is helping us. This is good.
Okay. They become Capricorn. And together, the Aries and the Capricorn become air. So you're seeing almost an echo of the first pattern.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a personal basis, I find this very powerful because there gets to a point, that's where it has to begin. Of course, it always has to begin with us. And for all the ideas that I'd like to manifest, it's like, get going. Well, shall we take, I know you have tons more, but we're at that.
Take the break now?
Yeah, can we do that?
Yes.
Okay, I wish the break were shorter. I'd clip it off. Folks, return. We have plenty. The equinox is happening. We'll see you right quick. Okay. And thank you, Linda Berry and Rob Pacitti. The Turning Seasons. While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the Yang period of Libra, ruled dually by Venus. By leaving the lower hemisphere of the self, the energy of Libra enters the arena where the completed self meets the other than self to form a relationship based on partnership. As a cardinal air sign on the descendant angle, represented by the equinox of equal light, Libra's energy learns through comparison
and relationships with the intention to integrate duality and polarities.
This is Martha Norwalk, every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to newprosupplements.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, September 29th, it's an extra Sunday edition of Animal World, and we'll spend the bulk of it finding out what's going on with animals all around the country and the world. Merritt and Beth Clifton from animals24-7.org join us, and of course, we try to always end with some good news. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific on KKNW. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
Giving local voices a chance to shine. Alternative Talk 1150.
Hi, we will jump right back in, and I want to tell people it's Pacific Daylight Time. I got to change those little details. Go ahead, Linda. Okay.
Okay. So we're seeing the importance of objectivity and interrelationship. The next pattern is, wait, I missed something here.
I'm wondering too, I know I usually at halftime bring up a little bit about us. Nate, do you think we can just, change this real quick? Okay.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to rapidly go through this, but for folks, just to be aware of our great panel, it's Linda Barry, and you can reach her at astrosleuth.com, and she has her, and Rob Pacitti at deepearthastrology.com. And for those people, you can go back and see, but Linda has a School of the Astrology of Vibrational Energetics and is at Astro Sleuth. And every January, she starts a new program of introduction classes, but she also has certificate programs for those people that want to go ahead and
lead into a diploma and a certificate of professional performance if you want to go there.
Yes. And so it is an option, but learning the basics is so valuable. And that is part of that process. And she has a diary, as she calls it, that's a daily planetary interpretation that you can easily sign up for. Just email her. And more than that, gives you a personalized Sabian report that integrates the patterns for the new moon, the full moon, and on occasion the eclipse and other.
Okay.
And that's a monument.
Right, let me just say something about that. That is separate from the diary. And
yes.
You subscribe to it because it's individualized. So I have to charge a little something for it.
And it's very nominal and very revealing. So that's something to be given. Rob Pacitti, and you can see his site here. And he is of Deep Earth. And coming up next year, which is a work in progress and a very exciting one, is a tarot set that he is setting up. It's Deep Earth Astrology Tarot. And of course,
very excited.
Yeah, I am too. I love tarot sets. And Rob has many other activities, and you can reach him at his Deep Earth. For Talk Cosmos, we do have a new panel that I find very inspirational. It's because the U.S. happens to be dealing with our Chiron return, and the one coming up in October is the swing states. And then after the election, we'll have another one. And that's because we have a series that's about the elections. But next year will be other mundane situations. And stay tuned with that. Thank you for signing up. And we do have various, but I'm going to that's it. Back to Linda. Thank you.
Okay. So I am going to do these in a little different order than they got put in here. The next one I want to talk about is the moon quincunx Haumea. And to do this very quickly, this tells us that there is a rebirth of our emotional patterns needed. That this is kind of like part of the answer. We need to get a new understanding of our past and how our past is affecting our present.
Would we consider that second quincunx between Haumea and Neptune to create the yod pattern?
No, it's not a yod pattern because the second quincunx is between Venus and Neptune.
Yes, okay.
They're close, but they're not. For a yod, that would have to be the same planet. But the Venus Neptune quincunx tells us the other area we need to rework is the way we work with our dreams and our ideals. What are the process of our attraction to our dreams and ideals has to be balanced with a new emotional understanding.
To me, this is key. I'm so glad to see it validated right there.
How can we? Quincunxes often give the key. This is the key you have to turn to have something work well.
Will those two quincunxes create a resonance pattern with each other there to
Absolutely.
Yeah, like those two are definitely going to be, kind of working with each other.
Anytime you have two quincunxes in a vibration, they create a resonance pattern with each other. Okay. And that means that it's a little easier and it's a little more likely that you're going to accomplish it. Okay. So now let's get back to the one I skipped. Venus is joining with the Eris Haumea opposition. Folks, on a long-term basis, for a few years now, Eris has been opposite Haumea. And I know that's not in our normal vocabulary, but what that is a long-term challenge for us to experience a new consciousness of, or a rebirth in our consciousness of exclusivity versus inclusivity. In other words, to learn how to be more exclusive, to rebirth our pattern and move beyond some of the exclusivity that we have traditionally been involved in. Venus here joins with the Eris Haumea to help us see the beauty of an expansion of inclusivity. And the cis pattern here is very interesting. It's Scorpio and Aquarius becoming fire. So it's like merging with the network of connections around us and reaching out, seeking new answers. Okay, so then let's get to the last pattern here. Okay, I have to do these quickly. This is a novile pattern in the natal chart. The green lines are grand trines, which is the grand trine pattern that we already talked about. But along with it is Mars coming in, making actually the Mars, it only picks up the moon part. But Mars comes in and turns this Sun, Moon, Pluto triangle into a community issue. And this is about how we understand the past and its relationship to our experiences now and what we are feeling. And remember, you can transform your feelings if you understand what is generating them. And one of the things we know is that the moon, which represents the feelings, these are the feelings we carry our past imprinted within us, and that's what generates our feelings, folks. In the ninth this is ninths. Noviles are ninths. 1 ninth, 2 ninths, 4 ninths. So this is conjunct in the ninth vibration. And we have that Moon, Mars, Sun, Pluto here with the emphasis on Sun and Mars. Sun and Mars are what is really tight.
In this community, because for people that don't, vibrational 9, it's all about.
This is about taking action in the community. So in a sense, it's asking us a question. It's challenging us. Will we act on our archaic emotional patterns, or will we have a rebirth of our emotional patterns and act on that? Now, this is one more cis pattern. The natal chart pattern gives us Taurus. The ninth harmonic pattern gives us fixed energy. And this one is really interesting because together, oh dear, I'm sorry. Together, these combine and they give us earth energy. And earth energy is fascinating because earth energy is not what we've normally thought it was in astrology. Earth energy is dynamic. Earth energy tunes in to the universal patterns and flows them down to manifest here as structures and concepts in the earth realm. Okay, so Sabian symbols. We're going to get to them before we're done here. Okay.
It's really good for starting our projects, then I would say, too, with all that earth energy. Yeah. So if we have...
There's potential for manifesting something new, folks. That's what this whole thing is yelling at us. Either we hold to an old pattern of locked in, obsessed emotional energy, or we bring something new to life.
And everything is completely different. I mean, than it was, obviously all of this astrology can point to the fact that we have a very large election coming up in the next few months. And that's going to be dictating a lot of the energy that's around us. Yeah. And, it was a little stagnant. It was very internal. We had a switch in the candidates on one side. We've had some obvious action occurring with the other candidate on the other side. I mean, I think that the entire thesis of everything that we've talked about up to this point has been about how we're going to handle these changes and how we're going to handle community and our thought of community and inclusivity versus exclusivity. All of those themes seem to have to do with our alignments with what's going on politically.
Yeah, in this country especially, that points exactly to this rebirth necessary of what are chironic wounds. It's amazing,
and it's not just in this country. I mean, we have a lot going on in Europe right now. We have a lot going on in the Middle East.
Yes,
we even have
absolutely.
a lot. We don't hear about
one
it
big community interrelated. Yes,
there's a lot going on in China right now as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like this whole idea of polarity and the push and pull of it. Mm-hmm. What is inclusivity? How do I get people onto my side? How are they different from me? All of these themes seem to be coming to it ahead of action.
How can we work together?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is happening everywhere, folks. It's not just in the United States. We seem to be a poster child for it right now, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But this is not just in the United States. It's Ukraine, it's Russia, it's China, it's Israel. And I'll be back just a second.
Yeah, it's very fascinating because just how this has all developed over the past few months and the energy that we brought in with the solstice. We were talking about that kind of need for the the release of all of this stored energy. And it's been going on for months now, and to finally, we did say in our last episode, I will say, is where is Mars in all of this? And when did Mars pop? Well, we saw a very large action towards the political process during the Mars-Uranus conjunction. Okay,
yeah, and now we have Mars.
Okay.
And now we have Mars.
That was July. So here we go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sabian,
so
thank
first
you.
We have, remember, the Sabian symbol is on 3 levels. First, we have a muse weighing twins. Weighing and evaluating the irrational and irrational levels within you, recognizing that they are reflections of each other, coming to understand that you need to establish a balance between them based on a higher level of awareness than either of them. The second level, the soul level, this is the underlying, what's underneath that whole weighing process. One hand slightly flexed with a very prominent thumb, that is actually the picture. Developing your own unique characteristics, learning how to relate with strength and flexibility, moving beyond a self-centered focus, and learning how to listen and compromise. Or the negative side of this, focusing on being better and stronger than other people and inserting your will in an overpowering, dominating way. You have a choice. Work with others and compromise, or be a tyrant. Kind of reflects some things, doesn't it?
Yes.
Spirit wisdom lesson underneath. A woman awaiting a sailboat. You're awaiting patiently the development within you of a new way of connecting to others that will enable you to operate genuinely and harmoniously. To recognize that we need to be open to the birth of new things within us. This is more than just a conscious thing. You can't logically think it. It has to grow within you. But open to what's happening now, rather than so focused on the future that you miss the opportunities around you while you're busy longing for something that will probably never arrive.
Not being set with our formation of our, but see what's actually sprouting.
Right,
yes.
Right here, right there, to respond to what's in the present. So weighing the rational and the irrational, developing the unique characteristics of yourself, and learning to listen and compromise, and waiting for the expansion of this connection with others in a genuine way. Or flipping back and forth between the rational and irrational aspects of yourself without any balance, focusing on dominating others in an overbearing way, and being so tied up in the future that you don't even see the opportunities around you. That's the polarity, folks. That's the extremes.
But working with the network has...
Right, or trying to dominate it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for being here today. May the fall give you the wisdom to know what to preserve within yourself and what to let go of.
That past and present right from the get-go, rescribing, and I add that to, like a scribe, rescribing our story of that Cancerian energies of how things really affect us by detaching and seeing it more for its truth rather than just our feelings of being left out or whatever. It changes the whole continuity of our essence.
I think it's also important to understand that both sides have community. And, I'm seeing that very rationally today, as a matter of fact, because one of the candidates is going to be doing a rally in the town that I live in on tomorrow. And as you drive down the main thoroughfare, what do you see? You see 10 by 10 pop-ups selling all kinds of paraphernalia and people out there celebrating and being joyful and enjoying their community. So, we have to understand with all of this astrology that it applies to both sides. And,
absolutely.
And that there is no, the stars don't pick a winner or a loser. And,
no, they don't.
When we're talking about things in this capacity, and it's just something really that we're going to need to deal with. I don't think that either side of the coin is going to be quick to accept, the situation, as it moves forward. And that is a global issue right now, is extreme thoughts on whatever side of the coin, and the concept of polarity.
Right,
And
and isn't it interesting that this symbol was about weighing twins?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing here that is unusual that we don't usually see. The 3 symbols are all in Cancer.
Yeah.
That is unusual. Normally, the 3 levels of the symbols have at least 2 signs to them. And so the message of Cancer is about building a safe place where you can be real.
Yes. It's very tribal, and it's also the sign of our nation. You know what I mean?
Yes. I was thinking 13 degrees. Yep.
So I mean, it's very, very telling as to where this is going to go. And I think it's again, it's a global phenomenon, but we're kind of getting the distilled version. We're getting the essence of the spirit here in this country, whereas there's more subtleties. But again, I mean, we seem to be involved with all of it all over the world. So I'm not surprised that we're kind of funneling all of that energy into our own situation, since our tentacles seem to be involved with everything all over the world.
Right.
And when I think of safety, I remember clearly, because it gets into that cardinal business of attack, of like, what is threatening you not to feel safe? And that needs to be reevaluated. Perhaps that gun, proverbially speaking, is not being pointed to you, and perhaps it is. And what is your territorial, thinking about the boundaries, that whole dynamics.
And how much is a real threat, and how much is something that you feel emotionally that's not really a threat?
Yeah, from the past that perhaps you weren't safe about, but it was changed. And
and that Haumea Eris opposition,
oh God!
We're talking about the thing that's interesting about that to me is that it's all about kind of redefining inclusivity and exclusivity. When you have a situation where essentially it's 50-50, either side would like to bring in whomever they can. So it's very interesting how we can see the kind of insidious nature of how those two bodies work together when they're in opposition.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Eris actually moves a lot slower than Haumea overall, but they seem to be at a point in their cycle when they are moving at approximately the same speed. Mm-hmm. And so this opposition just continues and continues and continues. I've been seeing it I've got to go look and see exactly how long it's been going on. I know I've been seeing it for like ages.
They both have about 500 whatever years in their cycle, I believe.
No. Eris has 500 plus years in her cycle. Haumea has between 280 and 300.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. But there's elliptical. I see, and that's why. Yep. Because that business of and 2 is always. Yes, it's just dealing with something else. Yeah. So it's dealing with this inclusivity or exclusivity, and based on what? And that, of course, gets based on our feeling of safety.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit late to the asteroid table in astrology. Let's just put it that way. And, that opposition has really made me wake up to the power of those asteroids, because I've seen that opposition, the dwarfs, I'm sorry, manifest so well in not only in my own community, but in my own life and in the greater world. So it's like there is certainly something there. I know there's a lot of astrologers don't work with those bodies, but to take a look at them and see how they manifest within the overall picture is very fascinating.
Even on my own family, I've been dealing with those dynamics within me, just very core. It's like, how do I get from here to there? Yeah.
But when Eris is opposite Haumea, the whole world will deal with this dynamic.
Yes.
Every one of us, every relationship.
Well, there's hope perennial, because I do love having an idea greater than ourselves that we can reach for. Otherwise, we have a pyramid, or we have a continuity of some connection that works on a new parameter.
Right.
Here we go.
Buckle up.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, community.
Thank you all.
And people. Yeah.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.